So a lot of people were like, how do I deal with my anxiety? Well, it's amazing what will happen. If you do one 24-hour sprint where everything that seems difficult, you just do it, you all of a sudden don't have time to feel anxiety. It's not that it's not there. It's just that you physically don't have any time for it. Anxiety requires time. The goal is not just to get busier all the time, but it's like if you busy yourself doing things that you know are the right things to do, you're running into things and your anxiety is still be chirping away. You just won't have time to listen to it. When your self-image is adequate and it's something that you can be proud of, you feel self-confidence. So the self-esteem is a byproduct of you living in a way that aligns with the image that you want to carry.
What if you could build a business in the modern world as big or as small as you want without having to compromise the things that were the most important to you in the very beginning? This is the Wealthy Consultant Talks podcast with Taylor Welch and Mike Walker, as they share with you today their learning lessons from stories in their experiences over the past 10 to 15 years and share with you right here, right now. Let's get into it.
All right, let's talk real fast about self-image. Self-image. We have an event coming up for Novos in, I believe that this will probably be February. It's called Self-Concept and Identity. Self-concept and identity, self-image. This is one of my favorite things to talk about. As many of you know, some of you don't know, I'm testing out of my BS in psych right now. It's hilarious, but it's also awesome. I want to get a master's in either bioenergetics or neuroscience. I don't know which one yet. We're going to go with wherever the wind goes. But what's fascinating is that when you study self-esteem and self-concepts, this research is like 50, 60 years old. So like we've known what self-esteem is for a very long time. We've known how to fix people's self-esteem for a very long time. We've known how to cure clinical depression for a very long time without stimulus, without medication. We've known how to do this stuff for a while. And for better or for worse, I'm going to let you be the judge of that. There was a lot of money in selling fast acting cover up type of drugs for people. And so what happens is the research sort of has been somewhat suppressed and throttled, not because it's blacklisted, but because it doesn't make us money. It doesn't make it. I can't scale a business off of just teaching someone how to wake up early and eat a good breakfast. That's a very difficult thing for me to do. You know, and you understand that. Like that's not what people want. I'd have to spend a ridiculous amount of money in ads just to get you to buy into it. But if I can give you medication that can trick your brain into thinking that you woke up early and ate a good breakfast, oh man, now we're in like multi-billionaire type territory. And it's not always this way, but this is most of the way that it is. And so part of the reason I'm so passionate about what we're doing is because there are heuristics that can go into play. And typically, if you learn the heuristics, you learn how to control the brain. Let me give you an example of one of the heuristics. One of my values is I do difficult things until they become easy. You guys have heard me talk about this before. A heuristic would say the more difficult it is to do, the more fulfilling it's likely going to be on the other side of that. That would be a heuristic. This is true in almost every sense of the word. Has anybody on the call ever done a dopamine fast? Like a real one?
Getting a delay here. I know I have, man. I just came from one. I was out in the desert. Unless you consider like, does motocross count as dopamine though?
Doesn't count. No, that would be more like epinephrine flooding the brain. No. A real dopamine fast, yeah, that would qualify. So you're talking no music,
no connection,
very little auditory processing. If you want to really go hardcore, you do no food. So I just did one of these yesterday. No coffee, no music, no screens, no technology, no internet, no food, no nicotine, like nothing happy. If it was happy, don't do it. The only thing I could do is read. And so I ended up reading like for 5 hours. It was like reading. And when I woke up this morning and I like had a cup of coffee, I was like, oh my God, like this is amazing. And then like music came on our Sonos speakers and I was like, how beautiful is life? And this is crazy. You're just losing your mind. Well, if you can learn to get into a position where you're doing the difficult work then your whole life becomes more beneficial. How many of you seen that meme? It's like the road to heaven feels like hell, and the road to hell feels like heaven. You've got these two people, and one of them's like, fat and smiling. So you get into this place where when you are doing life the right way, you don't always feel good, but you know that nothing's wrong. When you're doing life in a shortcut type of way, you feel good, but you know that everything's wrong. And so there's like a massive misalignment around how am I living right now? How am I getting to the things that I want to get to? And when you study old research around self-concept and self-identity, you see this parallel to how the brain recognizes stimuli and how the value system judges us in whether we are acceptable or not. So read this quote for you real fast. When the self-image is intact and secure, you feel good, but at a deep level. So like you don't exactly feel good at the shallow level. If you have a self-esteem that says, I take care of my body, I am physically fit and active, I eat good foods. Well, it doesn't always feel good to be in the gym on the last set. It doesn't feel good when all you want is a pizza and you're eating kale and lettuce. You might as well just like be an herbivore, like a horse. It's like, this is not what I want. But you feel good at the base level, which is the level of the alignment of the soul, the mind, heart, will, and emotions. You know that level is feeling secure. When this self-concept or self-image is threatened, you feel anxious and insecure. So a lot of people were like, how do I deal with my anxiety? Well, it's amazing what will happen if you do one 24-hour sprint where everything that seems difficult, you just do it, you all of a sudden don't have time to feel anxiety. It's not that it's not there. It's just that you physically don't have any time for it. Anxiety requires time. This is something they don't teach about the mind. If you're feeling anxious, it means you have time to realize that you feel anxious. And so the goal is not just to get busier all the time, but it's like if you busy yourself doing things that you know are the right things to do, you're running into things and your anxiety is still be chirping away. You just won't have time to listen to it. When your self-image is adequate and it's something that you can be proud of, you feel self-confidence. So the self-esteem is a byproduct of you living in a way that aligns with the image that you want to carry. We'll break this down. You feel free to be yourself and to express yourself. You function at your optimum level. When your self-concept is the object of shame, you attempt to hide it rather than express it. Creative expression is blocked and you become hostile and hard to get along with. So there's this cataclysm of sorts that happens when somebody is not proud of who they are. And you can tell that someone is not proud of who they are because they will begin to do things for no other reason than to secure approval of the crowd. And then in hindsight, guess what? They're upset with themselves for doing those things, which what does this create? A loop. And what is the loop called? Shame. Because we're looking back at things that reinforce and substantiate this idea that I behaved outside of my alignment window, outside of the way that I was supposed to behave. Is this making sense?
Tracking.
So I want to do a really quick, brief bit of homework. Here's the thing that I want you to list down. I'm going to limit you to two things. If we get to the end of your life and there are two things being said about you, two things only. This is not a lot of surface area. So we're going to have to test the brain's capacity to categorize. This is good for the brain to do, by the way, because the brain can be, if you can force your brain to categorize things into like principles, a lot of your life becomes easier. At the end of your life, there are two things that are said about you. What two things do you want to be said about you? And they need to be written in a particular way. Your name was, enter the value or the virtue. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So Mike was ruthlessly committed to lifting other people. Or it can be Mike was ruthlessly committed to his own comfort and eating whatever he wanted. If he doesn't want, if that's a value for him, then
Oreos, baby.
Go have it. Oreos all the way. I haven't had an Oreo in months, dude. Months.
I've friends.
I've broken that habit. All right. 2 things. I want you to write them down, then we're going to talk about them. Just take 60 seconds and knock it out, and we will be here when you are done. Here's the next thing I want you to do. I want you to take 60 seconds, pick one of them, just one of them. Pick one of them. You don't pick 2 of them. You won't have time to do it. And here's how we get crazy. This is going to be difficult for some of you and easy for some of you, depending on how much you've practiced this. I want you to take 60 seconds. I want you to close your eyes, disconnect, and I want you to visualize what you right now or this week, what it would look like for you to fully support that thing that was said about you through your choices this week. Visualize it all the way through. 60 seconds. I will bring you back when you're done. In one word, just one word, describe how it felt visualizing through that. Whenever we want to get into a place, and this is something I would practice, I would spend time every day calling back the feeling of peace, calling back the feeling of alignment, calling back the feeling of gratitude. The way that you do this is that, and notice how these words are working, the version or vision of yourself that you are participating in creating is always going to have a great connotation. Notice none of our self-esteems just went backwards. None of us. Mm-hmm. Nobody on that I've seen. And if you do feel like, well, this was awful for you, then we can talk about that. But you'll never really find somebody stepping into who they were supposed to be and always wanted to be and then feeling worse as a byproduct. So the stronger we can get the association in our minds to how I behave and feeling peaceful, the easier it will be for us to behave that way under duress or under stress or when there's not enough time or et cetera, et cetera. It's all mental circuitry that we're connecting up.